उनका जीवन गाथा उनकी जीवन
Father A.T.'s life story is in my heart and mind.
फादर एटी अभी नहीं है.
Though Father A.T. is not with us now, we always feel that he is very much present with us even today.
हमारा विचार तो है कि उनको कहते थे गरीबों का मसीहा है.
We consider him the Messiah of the Dalit community here in Karanpura Valley.
उच्च कोटि के लोग,
The upper caste people, the exploiters, they thought if he is alive, the Dalits will come up.
वो तो चाहते थे.
They also realized that in many Dalit villages, there is a school coming up.
यूं ही रहे.
That was with A.T.'s help.
ऐसी कार्य को देखते हुए लोगों
By seeing all this, the exploiters were worried and also jealous. That is the reason he was killed.
He was a deep believer in Jesus and the gospel. He knew gospel was proclaimed to the poor. Yet he said Jesus did not die of heart attack. Rather, Jesus took a stand for the poor, for the oppressed. That's why he died. And always A.T. used to empower people, give them hope, and make them understand that they, even though they were untouchables, even though they were Dalits, considered to be outcasts in India, but still they are human beings, they are children of God. So they had dignity. One of the 80 sayings, it is said, Daro mat, don't be afraid of, fear not. That's a sentence from the gospel, but somehow 80 made it his own.
He was an inspiration. He was living in a small hut. So he called me to that place saying that you come to Mandare parish and stay with me. So with all my enthusiasm going to a new parish, and I went there, I found a broken house there. And I looked around looking for the parish church and also the priest's residence. Then here he opened the door and said, this is the parish, this is the residence, this is your bed, this is my bed. In fact, there was no bed, nothing. So that was the introduction. So, but I enjoyed being with him. It was a kind of, I'm getting out of my own world. I'm getting into a different world. He gave me that orientation.
In India in general, the poor people are systematically oppressed by others. You would have heard about caste system. The Dalits, they form the lowest caste. Landlords are of higher caste. Always there is a tendency not to allow the lower caste to come up in any way, economically or educationally.
The theology behind is the Dalits have committed grave mistakes, grave sins in their previous birth. Therefore, they must go through this state as Dalits. So there is a theological interpretation for the present scenario here, in order to affirm that they should remain as Dalits.
In general, when the church comes to places like Bihar, and particularly to the rural areas, to the villages, even these days there is a lot of complaint that poor people are forcibly converted to Christianity. There is this complaint, this sort of complaints come. When we analyze that, the reason for that, such complaints don't come in towns. For example, St. Xavier's schools, St. Xavier's colleges are run by the Jesuits. There is no complaint. There is that in those schools, children are being converted. There is no complaint there. But whereas in villages, there are complaints that we are trying to convert. Actually, what they mean is they do not want poor children to be educated.
And here, somebody like A.T., a prophet, coming to them with the good news, telling them that no, this is created by somebody in order to make you slaves. Now I have come with a message for you that you are also free. You are as equal as others. So first created an awareness among the people, then educate them, then also village organizations. So people began to realize their power.
When AT was operating here, he was very courageous and his message was very clear, and he told people very clearly that the poor people had their right for their life and they cannot be oppressed. So he promoted education, promoted women's development. Whenever there was disputes, land disputes, he would help the people to fight it out. So if a person like AT was a threat to the upper caste people. So I think that was the reason he was killed. He was a threat. October 23rd, Thursday, 1997 was the day of Last Supper for AT in Patra. The following day, Friday, he said Mass for the community. Then AT went alone from Rajhar to a village called Sirka. As he entered the village, he saw the MCC group, MCC, they say Maoist Communist Center. This group is, as far as we know, a terrorist group. I think they have their allegiance to Marxism, the Marxist group. So they were having a meeting in the school building at the entrance of the village. So AT saw them from distance. So as he went near the school building, he was stopped by their own guards who were on the road. He was asked who he was. He gave his name. Then immediately they seem to have said, we have been looking for you for the last 2 years. Right. So took him inside the school building where the others were. What exactly happened there, we don't know, because there is no eyewitness report. And after some time, he was taken from there with hands bound through Sirka village. That's a poor village. Dalits are there. Some women were there, and the women saw him, and also they were pleading for him. But then the terrorists seem to have said, we are going to eat his liver, but we will send his flesh to you. Then they went into the forest.
We first heard about it here when that afternoon a young man from the village came in great fear and told us at prayer in a centre. I was at the time in Bukhara Steel City, which is half a day's motorcycle drive away. So early Sunday morning came to Hazaribagh and tried to pick up what news I could, but most people had moved out. So then I went to Sirka itself. We calculated from Sirka the direction they would go in. Now at this stage we were still hoping that AT believed and hoping that he was still alive, because they'd taken him off. And we virtually spent the day looking for them, trying to make contacts. So late Sunday night we came back to Hazaribagh. There's a question of informing the police, there's a question of informing his family, and so on and so on. And we realised if it got out and he was still alive, how that would jeopardise him also. So we decided, I remember, to give it another half day. And on the Monday morning, so we're now on the 27th of October, I decided, with one or two of us chatting, we decided he's probably dead. So with this assumption, we said, well, now we're looking for a dead person. And we worked on the assumption that if they're going to kill him, They're not going to take him several miles off and keep him several days and then kill him. They'd kill him rather soon. So if Sirka was the first village, we worked out the direction they would go, and the second village near there. So with a field worker, I left a field worker in Sirka, the first village, and we got some young boys who were terrified. The fear psychosis which had just captured everybody was just paralyzing completely. So I told the boys to let's divide into groups. We'll look up half a kilometre upstream and downstream. And one walk on either side of the stream, one walk in the stream, which was a dry stream, just until Nala, what we call a Nala. And I said, I'll stay here till you get back. And we'll stay here till everybody comes back. They were so scared. And going downstream, they hadn't gone more than 100 yards, and they said, Father, come quickly, come quickly. And they were coming out with their faces covered, rather horrified. And so I went there, and there was A.T.'s body.
The head had been cut off. The head was not there. The body was he was stripped of his shirt and trousers. He was dressed in underclothes. Hands were tied at the back. Then he was lying with his stomach on the ground.
We suspected early, but we found out in time there's a village down in the Karampura Valley called Beltu, where apparently when A.T. had been there before going to Manila, he had been involved in a land struggle with some Dalits, supporting them. As a result of that land struggle, two or three of the other party had been jailed for a while. Subsequently to this land struggle, the Naxalites moved into the area, and they made that very village a base. And some of those who'd been in the jail, sent to jail, joined the Naxalites. And they were in this Naxalite group in Sirka village when A.T. walked in that day. They said, hello, we've been looking for you for a long time. So, although it was a Naxalite group, it was more a personal vendetta, killing, than anything else.
I felt so bad. I felt like a member of my own family had gone away from me. We agonized because we could not even see his head. It was missing. So that made us more sorrowful. I felt that the whole creation was experiencing the same sorrow and agony.
It put us in great sorrow. It hurt our emotions, our feelings. It was a big blow to me, to each one of us. We had a fear of what will happen to us.
After A.T.'s death, a lot of fear here. Fear among us, the Jesuits of Hazaribagh, fear among the co-workers, among the villagers. There was fear.
When A.T. died, everything came to a standstill for a while, but the spirit of A.T. is working, therefore it is continuing.
We talked to the villagers with the plan of having a celebration to commemorate A.T.'s death, first anniversary. In the beginning there was hesitation, fear was there, but then slowly people realized there is no reason to be afraid of. Then very enthusiastically everyone came forward. So that was an experience for us, that the fear, but that's why that sentence makes a lot of meaning now, at present. Fear not. There is opposition, violence will be there because of the way society runs. There are people who don't want the poor to come up, so they will use violence to prevent their coming up. But that's not happening in this case. That's why A.T.'s death has a lot of meaning for us, inspiration for us.
We will never forget Father A.T. because he lives in our hearts, in our own families, and we always remember him in our prayers.